Thank you.
Yeah. Commissioner Sorensen.
Just a quick question.
Representative
Wakefield,
Henry.
you're talking about Route 16?
Yes.
And second, a lot of these are out-of-staters?
It's a mixture. There are a lot of out-of-staters, but, you know, I mean,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, it's a mixture.
Okay.
Okay. Representative Pettengill.
You said that two agencies dovetailed off from the federal funding grant, and the agencies were what? It was the Sheriff's Department?
Yeah, Wakefield does 4 offices. The Sheriff's Department
So
does
it's a
4.
town department,
Town does 4.
the Sheriff Department.
And other municipalities may set it up slightly different, but generally the grants are good for 8 offices. So we're limited at 8 offices, so I get 4 from my own, 2 from the Sheriff's Department, and 2 from Ossipee. And when we do joint exercises, I do like the guys working together, because they're gonna work together next week. So I like that exchange with them. That's part of the reason why I do it that way. The people that I get for the chase cars is not paid in the grant. They come from Troop E, State Police.
And that's state.
You're right. So it's officers who have been assigned to work that night.
Okay.
That assist with it. And oftentimes, we do get assistance from, when we're doing some exercise, we do get assistance from the Sheriff's Department, we do get assistance from State Police, but the grant caps me out at 8, so.
Okay, follow up.
So no county money goes to this through the Sheriff's Department, because it's grant-based?
$600.
$600 even
Through
with
the
the grant?
grant.
Through the grant, okay, but it's reimbursed?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do federal highway funds, do we get federal highway funds based on our willingness to do these checks?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, again, we're one of those states that authorizes credit checkpoints.
And we get money because we are willing to do it?
Correct. The state of New Hampshire does, yes.
How much money does it get, do you know?
I don't know what that pool is. Every year it changes. We get more than a lot of other states, so we don't have a seatbelt statute, so more of that funding goes in there.
Okay. And what states aren't willing to do these, do you know?
Michigan. That's
Michigan?
the Michigan v. Sitz case where the
Okay.
U.S. Supreme Court.
And that's the only state?
No, there's a couple of other states. I don't know what they are. I think Texas is another one.
Okay.
But there are a couple of other states.
Thank you very much.
Okay, are there any more from the delegation? Is there any from the audience that would like to ask a question? Yes, sir, and please be,
Ed
quiet.
Comeau, Brookfield. It is of my opinion that in 3 minutes flat, we're losing a right. Now, people confuse amendments to the Constitution as rights to us, but it's rights to restrict government. So in 3 minutes flat, in this moment in time, it can be 1776 or 2011. And when you give the government 1 inch, they take a yard. Now we're moving down a path here where, yes, and I know I in no way want this to be misconstrued that I'm defending drunk drivers. Defending the Fourth Amendment defends everyone's right to be not searched. But people also get the amendment confused, because you cannot take unreasonable searches out of the amendment. It's all one sentence. Notice how the founders put the comma in between everything. It says all of it, under comma, and shall not be violated. And I'm confused, and most people are, of how a judge can give a warrant to stop someone if you don't know what the person's name is, you don't know the place it's going to be searched. Right? I don't understand that. So it's no question to me that this is a problem constitutionally. You mentioned states' rights. The southern states enjoyed defending slavery. I know you don't want to get this mixed up with slavery, but it's still a state's rights. We have to be very careful of not defending the Fourth Amendment, because as the feds did with the Patriot Act, it allows judges to very easily usurp rights. It may be something, the reason why people don't like the Fourth Amendment and they try to pervert the Constitution is because it stands in their way. It stands in the way of the government from taking those rights.
Okay. Thank you very much for your statement. Are there anybody else in the audience? Representative, no.
I have none.
Representative Trevanza, I'll get to you in a minute, then Chip Albee, Mr. Albee.
I just, do you go to Superior Court prior to the setting up of the checkpoint that you're going to do out on the road?
Yes, and if I could, do I have permission to maybe address?
Yes, but I don't want this to be a, it very easily could be getting into a political campaign issue, and that's not where we are here. We're just listening to some concerns. So, yes, you can answer Representative.
That's not politics.
Chris.
Yes, this is the
Okay,
application.
can I just follow up real quick?
Yes.
Do you see that the application before the Superior Court is similar or comports with an application before a judge for any search warrant, or any arrest warrant for that matter, prior to the issuing those warrants on any other area specific to one person, let's say? Does the statistical analysis that you're presenting to the court essentially do the same thing?
Yes, and let me expand on that a little bit. The application tells the judge the time, the location, what we're looking for, the manner in which we're going to search for it, not search, it's not pass. And we are not, again, you can call a duck a goose all day long, but it don't make it a goose. These are not searches, they're stops. Searches would be like what happens to you at the border crossing when they pull your seats out of your car. That's a search. And they're looking for anything and anything. This is not a search, it's a stop. Momentary detention. And we ask specific questions, and it's well laid out. New Hampshire goes way beyond what would be constitutionally valid. The time, the place, the manner how we're going to act, the duration of the stop, and specifically what we're looking for. And it's given to a Superior Court judge who says, with affidavit and oath, just like a search warrant, is this true to the best of your belief? Yes, it is. It's all the stats, it's everything there. So then we get permission for 4 hours this year to conduct an exercise with very limited in scope. So you can say, where are we going to do this? Route 16. When are we going to do this? I'm not telling you. The judge knows. But it's not really a big secret because it's August and a weekend in Wakefield on Route 16. It's not tough. But that's the general public, but the judge knows specifically. The judge authorized it. So it's almost the same as going to get a search warrant for somebody's house, but in a search warrant, we're actually searching. So we're stopping you for less than 3 minutes.
Okay, Representative Trevanza, and then we have one more, and your name is?
Maureen McDonald.
Maureen McDonald, okay, go ahead, Representative Trevanza.
You mentioned that it's a momentary detention. Amendment number 4, which we read before, but we'll just do it again. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. These documents don't cite any particular persons ahead of time. And regarding the fact that the expression momentary detention was used, that's a violation of Amendment number 9, which states the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So I just wanted to point that out. Do you have any You have to say about that?
Wait a minute. I think that what happens is that, I know that this issue is a hot button issue for some people. I also know that it has been through the courts in New Hampshire. Our law enforcement have been awarded the right to do that, and apparently there is statutory authority also with it. So I would like very much to be able to have this. It's a statement of how you are, but this is not something that the delegation can vote to say yes or no to. I appreciate the time that the chief and all the chiefs and everybody that have come in to do, but I would like not to have a back and forth contest, because nobody's going to change anybody's minds as we go through this process today. So Representative Algren, and then I'm going to shut it off. Thank you. And I'll have, wait a minute. Okay. Noreen, go ahead.
I just want to say, I'm someone that uses Route 16 late at night quite often, and I used to commute for work and come up that road at 2 o'clock in the morning. And the big old Governor Wentworth's Road, I'd be the only worst person on the road, and I'd see the shining lights that said Wakefield Police or the State Police, and I always said thank you, because I felt I was safer than driving that road, because it is so dangerous. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Representative Algren.
Thank you. Just another follow-up, because I basically you stopped, and with stops and turnarounds, you had about 300 people during that 4-hour, your previous checkpoint. And did you, I also heard mention that there were some other violations besides the DWI. That may not have been at your checkpoint, but I was just wondering if you could tell me how many other violations you had, and maybe a short enumeration of what they were that you actually wrote.
Yes. In the interior of the checkpoint, we had 284 stops, resulting in 5 arrests. 3 were drug arrests. Drugs also do impair you when you drive, too. So it is important that people who are taking drugs or have drugs and are in motor vehicles, that's a good component of DWI enforcement. So that's that's good. We had 2 transportation of alcohol possessions, and these are people who came through the checkpoint, the DWI checkpoint, and have open alcohol beverages. So they have a rolling party, which we kind of feel is part of the mission. So 5 people, and we don't know how inebriated those 5 people would have gotten had they not been stopped. But we know that 5 people were arrested because they had drugs or open containers. We know 15 people were checked, and I bet those 15 people didn't get another drink. So did it keep the road safer that night? Yes, it did. And if I have permission, could I address just a closing concern?
Quick follow-up. So what you're stating is that there were no other violations written besides alcohol and drug-related? There were no, just for instance, like at your particular sobriety checkpoint, you didn't write any violations for inspections or, gosh, I don't know. Tail light, any other
There was
safety type issue.
There was, on the chase chats, there was a DWI with drugs. There was a combo arrest. There was 2 for the same arrest. The guy who was drunk also had drugs. And then there was 1 operating after suspension. So that was kind of an obvious thing to the officer when he stopped the person, identified who he was. Oh, you don't have a license. But no, out of over 300, if we wanted to go fishing for 300 people, we could have found violations, say, stickers and little bit. That's not our purpose. So it's not what we did. So we overlooked those things.
Okay, I was hoping that my question might actually validate that, and I think it did.
Okay. And sir, behind Will, I think you had your hand up before. Did you have your hand up for a question?
Well, I'm not a resident, but I'm concerned about the things that are happening in New Jersey, so I don't know if I'm entitled to speak. That was sort of my question.
Okay, well, I'm afraid that what's happening is that we do have other business